Choosing the right tool is one of the most important things you can do before you actually start on a climb. Today we'll talk about ice axes. Hey guys, welcome to the high ground. My name is Fabio, and today I thought we can talk about a tool in our repertoire that is, well, quite well known. A lot of people know a lot of stuff about it, but I often see that people still choose the wrong ice axe for the climb that they're going to do. As with all climbing gear, there is a lot of detail to how much abuse a specific piece of equipment can actually take. Today we're talking a little bit more in general terms, and I will give you an overview on the types of ice axes there are and what you might use them for and what you shouldn't use them for. Let's start with a classic, the Black Diamond Venom Adze. This is a fairly standard ice axe when it comes to mountaineering. You can see the handle is pretty straight. It has a little bit a tilted head, but not too much. We have a shovel in the back, you can't change that. And we have the peak in the front, and this peak is actually interchangeable. Now the handle has a rating, and it has a B rating. B is general purpose mountaineering. The other rating we will see later is a T rating, and that is meant for technical mountaineering and actual climbing. Now, the beautiful thing about this ice tool, or about this ice axe, is that it is super straight, so it is super straight, so that you can have it in your hand and walk fairly easily with it. And should you slip while mountaineering, arresting a fall is pretty easy. You're sliding down the side of the mountain and you can push the tip into the snow or into the ice to arrest your fall or your slide. So it's a nice ice axe, to be honest. It was one of the first ones I had for my own, and I hardly ever use it anymore because I replaced it with something else. And that's this guy. It's the Grivel AirTech Evolution, and this is a super cool ice axe. I really love it. I use it for all my mountaineering. It has a T-rated handle, so you can actually build anchors with it. It is a little bit more technical. You can see it's a little bit more aggressive when it comes to the curvature compared to the Black Diamond ice axe. This one is straighter, but it still works very well for just walking and general mountaineering. What you can also see if I hold those two ice axes next to each other is that the grivel is much shorter. The general rule of thumb is the more technical a mountain is or a climb will be, the shorter is the ice axe you can use for it. Of course, again, a short ice axe has some downsides when it comes to walking with it in like a cane, because then you have to more or less constantly go down to actually reach the snow. But I found for whatever, even for pure snow climbs, that this axe is pretty good, and I wouldn't buy this at all anymore, to be honest. So yeah, very cool ice axe for general mountaineering. Now, after we talked about ice axes for general mountaineering, let's turn it up a notch and have a look at the Petzl Quarks. Those are ice axes, ice tools that I would consider intermediate ice tools. They are not super aggressive, the curvature is still slightly bent, but if you start walking with them, you can see that the tip below already goes really backwards, so it's not optimal for that. You can still use them, and those are the tools that I generally don't use for ice climbing, although there are a lot of people who really climb hard ice with them, but I use them for north faces. So generally for mixed terrain where I will likely need to climb a little bit of ice or rock with ice tools, but where I also have bigger parts where I'm just walking. You can also see it here. I have a shovel at the end of the ice tool. I have another one. Let me get it. That's the brother of this one. This one has a little hammer here. And those are things that are very useful if you climb north faces or generally bigger faces in the mountains, because you can either clean snow from rock, etc., or you can actually hammer in some pitons, etc. So I think those are the two guys that I used the most for hard climbs. You can see I still have the standard picks on it. They are interchangeable, but for me the standard ice picks from Petzl are quite fine. You can also see a nice detail at the bottom tip. You can actually unlock a handrest for ice climbing, so it should alleviate a little bit of the strain of holding on to them. To be honest, I didn't feel that too much when I'm out with those because it's generally not super steep. What you can also see is that I wrapped the handle, and I used a tape that was originally made for the handles of mountain bikes. I just wrapped it because if you really hold on to the aluminum handle, then you get cold hands fairly quick. So this not only adds additional grip, but also additional insulation. And you really can feel the difference when you're in a wall for 12 hours, the difference between holding on to cold steel and to something that is more insulated. I mentioned a better grip. It is not very common for me that I actually hammer in this tool and then hold on up here. The thing I do more with them is that I actually hold them like this and then go up a steep slope that might be 50-60 degrees, where you really don't have to hammer them in, but you can just use them like this to have a little bit additional stability with your upper body, and then you can make short work of this stuff. So anything up to, I would say, 50-60 degrees, I walk like this.
Oh, should we just front pointing all the way?
Yeah, we thought we'd just give you a brief wait.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Do you like the mammoth helmet?
Yeah.
My wife has it as well.
Yeah, Pierre has the same thing, I think.
I like it.
I have that one, and I have the very light one from Petzl, which I use mostly for the ski mountaineering.
Like the one that looks like the end of a dick.
Yes.
The orange one.
Yeah. I look like a
dickhead.
Dickhead.
Literally a dickhead.
Really
oh come on!
like
You're the one to talk with your helmet, right? Look at him.
That's not because of the helmet, it's because of my hair and then
Yeah. Reasons are like assholes. Everyone has one.
Alright boys, let's go.
Come on. Yeah, let's go. You're not moving. Little mouth. Oh man, I really like that.
Yeah, this is perfect. Look at that fucking. Yeah, exactly. Now the moose. Now that we can unleash the moose.
Yeah!
Nothing less than coffee and croissants at the top.
Make the bed.
Okay, and since we covered the quags, let's go to something a little bit more technical. And those are these, my nomics. So you can see these Nomics, they are pretty heavily bent. They are not meant for having them in your hand like a cane, but really for ice climbing. The handrest here at the bottom, you can't put it away. You can change the angle slightly, but that's really only to change the hold you have on it. You can see those picks. Those are not the standard picks from Petzl. Those are aftermarket picks from Mountain Sports Steinle from Munich. You might not get them in the US, but they're pretty cool. I use these tools not only for ice climbing, but also for dry tooling. Now there are even more technical tools for dry tooling, because this is the Nomic. There is also something that's called the Petzl Ergonomic, but I found that with these tools I can climb almost any dry tooling route and of course any waterfall. So I also like them quite a bit. Here the wrap is clearly meant for holding onto it. So imagine, let me put the little brother away. So imagine you're hooking onto something, but you can't quite reach the next hold with the other ice tool. Then you have the possibility to change your grip up here, of course, if the angle of the hold permits, right? And then really go up to the next hold. So this is why I wrapped this part. It's not so much about the cold, because if you're out ice climbing, you will be cold. That's just how it works. And then you will have the screaming barfies and then you're good. But here it's really to give me additional grip, because if you only have the aluminum handle, then it's fairly slippery. So much for them. These picks, I actually change them. If I'm going to climb waterfalls, then I have thinner ones. Those are the ones for dry tooling. They're pretty thick. I would say they're 4 millimeters. Yeah, roughly 4 millimeters. And also very nice tools. So I can almost recommend anything from Petzl when it comes to Nomics or Quarks. But of course there are other very good brands out there as well, and it's a little bit personal preference. The ice axes and ice tools I just showed you were the more or less standard categories. The general ice axes for general mountaineering, the ice axes that were more technical, the Quarks for north faces, and then the very technical ice tools for waterfall climbing and dry tooling, the Nomics. There is something that came into the market, I think, over the last maybe 10 years, that are super light ice axes. And I'll show you that as well. It's something like that. And this one is much lighter. So you can see it's built not as stable, so you can't change the tip. You don't have an actual pick down here, only the handle is a little bit sharpened so that you can put it into snow. And this ice axe is meant for ski touring or free riding. Fittingly, it's called the Gully. It's a very nice ice tool. I personally wouldn't use it for general mountaineering. I see people who do that, but I always find that I'd like to have the additional reserves of having a properly rated handle. But if I'm out for 5 days in the mountain with my touring skis, and I know that I might only need an ice axe 1 or 2 times to improve the track of my touring skis for somebody who might be a little bit weaker, or if I have an icy spot, then this is a very good choice, because you'll save a lot of weight, because it weighs literally almost nothing. Okay, that was a very brief overview on ice axes. If you have any question in this regard, then post it in the comments. I'm happy to answer them. If you'd like to see any video about outdoor gear, please let me know. I have almost anything when it comes to mountain climbing. And yeah, if you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. Leave us a comment, I already said that. Follow the channel, don't forget to do that. And yeah, thank you for your time. I really appreciate that you watched this video, and I'll see you next time.